Hi everyone, my name is Arpio Sepian and I'm the English Language Arts Content Specialist for Sequoia Grove Charter Alliance. Today we're going to go through part 3 of our English workshop on the performance task essay question, where I've been sharing tips and tricks to help you master this part of the test. For our objectives today, we're going to determine how to accurately respond to a performance task question. We're going to identify criteria in the rubric that's used for grading. We're going to review sample student essays to learn tips and tricks to improve your writing. And of course, we're going to continue to practice this skill with other examples. If you remember from our first part of this series, we were reminding ourselves that the performance task question really is created to help evaluate student comprehension on a series of articles on the same topic. Students are going to be asked to respond using these articles in specific writing tasks. In part 1, I talked about the importance of determining the role, audience, format, topic, and standards for writing for these types of questions. I reviewed it where I talked about how in this question you're taking on the role of an intern at a library. Your audience is the library board of directors. Your format is a letter. And the topic you're arguing here is whether or not the library should purchase a 3D printer for use by general public. The standards that you're held to are making sure you write a multi-paragraph argumentative letter with a claim, sources, and of course those counter arguments. In part 2, I talked about the importance of using the RACES method for writing, where you restate the question, answer the question, cite the evidence, explain the evidence, and sum it up. I explained in the second video, sentence by sentence, on how you would restate that question, reminding yourself that you're that intern and your point of view on the topic. We answered it saying, in our opinion, for the sample student, one that I had here, that we don't want the printer in the library because that's not what the library was created for. We cited the evidence looking at the actual title and using quotation marks for the source for that piece of evidence. Then I showed you how to explain the evidence, to use 2 or 3 sentences for every quote to help you really achieve the maximum amount of points and really articulate your idea on this test. And then sum it up, where you put that bow at the end of your essay, metaphorically, where you're going back to your thesis statement or your claim, where you're really emphasizing that you do not want a 3D printer in the library because it'll really give the library a bad reputation. Now, after all that hard work, you have to remember all of the work that you do is going to be graded against a rubric. Now, with all of the fancy terminology that I've shared with you and the work that we've gone through, there are actually only 3 areas that you're going to be focusing on for the rubric. First is organization and purpose, meaning do you have a beginning, middle, and end to your argumentative letter? Second is evidence and elaboration. I can't say this enough. For every piece of evidence that you use, you do need to elaborate. So use all those writing skills, use all that wonderful vocabulary that you've been taught. Put all of your thoughts down on paper and as you're typing it in the computer for the test, and really shine on the day of the test. And third, and very important, is the conventions. That would be grammatical conventions, spelling, punctuation, and so on. Now, this is what the rubric looks like. Again, you do not need to memorize this, but this is the criteria that you're going to be held accountable for. So when the teachers come to grade your work, they're going to be scoring it. 4 would be like an A, 3 would be like a B, 2 would be a C, and 1 would be a D. The NS is for non-sufficient. It'd be like an F, meaning maybe somebody typed a word or something like that. We're going to go through those examples in just a minute. But realistically, please remind yourself that you are a very intelligent person. You've gone to a wonderful school, have amazing teachers. And so whenever you do on the day of the test, please let that be an accurate reflection of all the hard work you've put into it, as well as the community here at Sequoia Grove Charter Alliance. Do your best. Don't worry about where you fall on this category. Remember, we're all in this process of growth as writers. And of course, I'm going to help show you in this video small little changes you can make to get a higher score. But bottom line is, we want you to be strong writers, regardless of rubric. And these are all very common traits that English teachers and employers down the road will look at when you're trying to show what a wonderful writer you are. Now, in the next category, the evidence and elaboration, same categories, 4, 3, 2, 1. They're going to read through your work, and each of the bullet points will be reviewed by the teacher who grades it. And then last but not least, conventions. Interestingly enough, the grammar section, if you've been paying attention, the others were 4, 3, 2, 1. The conventions are on a 2, 1, 0, and non-sufficient scale, meaning you don't have to be perfect. They understand that, sometimes spelling and grammar, especially when you're typing fast, doesn't come out as perfectly as we'd like. But again, they use holistic grading to make sure that what grade that you've earned reflects that the effort you've put in. So let's go ahead and hop in and look at some actual student samples that were released from the test so you can actually see what these scores look like in action.